And so we're just going to bring the hands just in front at about belly button height, making sure that we haven't collapsed our shoulders, we've kept the chest open, shoulder blades down the back. And just find a height that's nice and comfortable, whatever height you like, and just have the palms facing towards each other. Bringing your awareness into the center of the body, a couple of inches below the belly button. We say the dantian, which translates as the elixir egg. It's also used sacral point. And just finding the center of the body with the mind. And just allowing that point to be as small as you can make it. And then connecting the rear crown and the vertical line that goes through the center of the body into that point and into the point in between the feet on the floor. And just imagine this line that comes right through the body, above the head and below the ground, intersecting the dantian. Keep trying to make that central point as small as you can. And just a reminder as well, in Qigong, we don't want to be stood like statues. It may look still, but actually there's a huge amount of movement going on. Constantly releasing, constantly changing what's happening inside the body, being aware of different things and experimenting with things. If you have an idea to try something and you just want to see the difference that making a little bit of adjustment makes, just go with that. Go with your intuition, go with the body's wisdom. But be aware of how it changes the feeling on the inside of the body, but also the feeling around the outside of the body. So start to become aware of what you feel around the outside of the body. Maybe sensations that are flowing over the skin, maybe an inch away from the skin. So it's all about awareness. We have our proprioception, knowing where the body is. Knowing which muscles are tense perhaps, knowing where our balance is, knowing where the center of balance is. You have our introception, knowing what's happening on the inside of the body. And our extraception, knowing what's happening around the outside of the body. You want to work on the awareness of all of these things simultaneously, ideally. So we're going to start adding a little bit of movement here, just with the breath, very gently. I suggest breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, but it's up to you. As we breathe in, we're just going to allow the hands just to move apart ever so slightly, and as we breathe out, allowing them to settle back in. Breathing in, allowing the body to open slightly, and as we breathe out, letting the body release and relax. So trying to imagine a kind of almost like a jellyfish feeling. As we breathe in to the lower belly, we expand the dantian so the circle inside grows, and that allows us to open down through our hips, knees and feet, out across our chest, shoulders, elbows and hands. And as we release, the center contracts, the hips can release, knees and feet, shoulders, elbows and hands. Don't try and force too much, just try to feel the natural flow of things. And try to be aware of whether your body is moving your breath or your breath is moving your body. And there's an invitation to play with that if you wish. So let's bring our attention into the space in between the palms. And as we breathe in and expand through the body, we want this space to expand as well. So it's almost like our awareness is expanding in space. And as you breathe out, we want to condense into the space in between the palms. So in Qigong, we tend to focus on the hands because we've got so much sensitivity in the hands. But we're not limited to that. It's just a great place to start. Really putting your awareness into the center between the palms, allowing your awareness to expand and condense. And you might start noticing more of a sensation in the hands, in the arms maybe in the belly as well. You might notice some heat, some tingling or some cold. You might get some jerks in the body as well as energy starts to release. All of these things are completely natural and they're welcome. As you're breathing out and condensing, you might start to notice almost like your hands starting to move through treacle, or like opposing magnets trying to push in as we condense this energy ball. So really bring that attention into that space, really condensing the mind into the space between the palms. And the more we can do that without trying to force the feeling, the more the feeling will naturally grow on its own. Being aware of what's happening inside the body, around the body and outside the body. Again, feel free to change the movement as much as you like. Make it more rounded, make it lower, make it higher. Make it more of a rotation in the shoulders, a rounding and rolling in the shoulders if you like. Opening across the back more, opening across the chest more. Just play with the feeling and notice the difference. Maybe play with changing the breath, slowing the breath down, deepening the breath, speeding the breath up, having a shallower breath, really emptying the lungs maybe, or not. Just notice the difference in the feeling that we're creating. So we're going to start moving into the bone marrow exercise, and it's based on exactly the same exercise as this. The only change that we need to do is change where we put our Shen, our attention, intention. So here I'd like to invite you to perhaps start with the forearms. It's one of the easiest places to start feeling this. And as you breathe in, I want you to imagine that the bones are starting to expand within the body and the energy is starting to spread out from the forearms. And as you breathe out, everything condenses into the bones. So bringing your intention, bringing your attention into the center of the bones. And as you breathe in, we're expanding out in every direction, circular direction, spiral direction, out through the forearms, breathing out, condensing into the bones. So just focusing on the forearms for now, because it's one of the easiest places to feel. Expanding out through the bones, through the pores in the skin. And as we breathe out, condensing back into the center of the bones. Now you might start getting a bit of heat building up in the body now, because now we're focusing on the inside of the body rather than the outside of the body. You might also start noticing a few twitches, particularly kind of in the fingers or arms or shoulders, where we're focusing. It's all normal things. You also might start noticing tension, again in the hands, or in the arms. Anytime you're noticing that tension, just let the mind go there, and the mind will control the muscles. So the mind needs to tell the muscles to let go of that tension, soften, and as you do that, it's kind of like the energy of the tension that muscle was holding gets dissipated. And you can dissipate that with the mind and direct that out of the body, or down through the body and into the ground, depending on what's more available to you. So again, breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, expanding the awareness out of the bones, and breathing out, condensing the chi into the bones. Which is really very, very, very good for the bones, very good for the bone marrow, but also, of course, it increases the circulation in the body, which is one of the main reasons you start to feel heat building up, and it increases the production of blood as well. So it's very good for the immune system because of that. So now I want you to just either carry on with this exercise as we're doing, or feel free to move to any part of the body that you feel needs a little bit of care and attention. And all you need to do is change where your Shen is. Your Shen being your awareness blended with your intention and your attention. You can do the whole body if you like. The whole body is quite difficult, but very powerful. It takes a powerful mind, it takes a strong Shen to do the whole body. Or pick a specific point if you have somewhere that you want to focus on. And just directing the hands to the belly,